Welcome back to the Real AF TV podcast, show about fishing random takes from Atlanta 10,000 lakes. Or if you're listening to us on Friday on YouTube, thank you for listening. We mostly do fishing stuff over here. Go check the backlog. This is the random take, and Tim is ready because I purposely wanted to bring this one up. This is in Tim's wheelhouse. We are going to talk about Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 remakes.
Yeah.
Specifically, we're going to talk about them, but the reason why they're the motivation, right?
Yes.
But we're going to talk about the old stuff because leading into these remakes, one's not out yet, first of all. Second, the other one just came out the Friday before the Monday that this podcast drops. And I haven't played either one of them, but these are, if I'm wrong, Tim, you correct me, but these are some of your top games. These are two of your top 5?
Yeah, for sure. I had to think about it. Maybe top 3. It might be
these are in your top 3.
Yeah, it might be Metal Gear Solid, and then these two.
No shit.
Yeah, dude. They're damn. The other games are like. There's so many games that are on my list, but if you gave me if you say what games are you gonna replay? Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 are right there.
Yeah.
With Metal Gear Solid's got to be number 1 still.
I know, which is the one we'll probably never get a remake of, even though technically we have. We'll get, you know what? We're going to talk about Metal Gear Solid, and we're going to talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake now too, because that is So if you go back in our backlog, one of the first episodes, first 5, within the first 5, everything is old, is new again. And I went off and I'm like, I don't fucking like all this remake stuff. And I'm just like, I want somebody to make something new. I like new shit more. And then the majority of the shit that I end up buying is all remake games anyway.
Right.
But it's not entirely true, because there's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game that came out, Shredder's Revenge. That is, it's a brand new game completely from the ground up. That is this is what I remember those old games being like.
Exactly.
And they're not, because go back and play the old game, which you can do, because there's another Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games, the Cowabunga Collection, that came out right after it.
Yep.
And that is literally just the games emulated on new hardware.
That's my boot.
And you will quickly find out Shredder's Revenge is brand new.
Yeah. Shredder's Revenge I got on Tuesday.
You got it. Hell yeah.
And my son have been playing it, and he's it's dope. It's super fun. He can play it. Sometimes he's hitting the wrong buttons because you have a charge attack, and he keeps wanting to be Splinter, and we're playing, and Splinter just keeps going, I need to focus because he's hitting the charge button and he's not ready. And I'm just like, no, you got to hit the other button. And he's completely worthless when it's the motorcycle's attacking us and we got to jump and kick. He's not getting that, but he can button mash, Yeah, it's super fun. And then when you get to the boss,
I was hoping we were going to get into some dad stuff that. Yeah. Because that was actually a self-critique on. I looked at the Twitter of my Twitter profile. And it says dad stuff on there. And I'm like, fuck, dude, we don't do enough dad stuff. And I was like, but this is going to be the time. So hell yeah. That's so awesome that you guys are playing that. I love it.
Yeah. The best part though is it's he's there to help out during the actual level. And then we get to the boss fight, and he'll be there for a little bit. He'll hang in there for a little bit.
Sure.
And then he gets knocked out, no lives left, can't come back into the game. Yep. And he's just like, where am I? And I'm just like, you're not here anymore. And then but you'll be back as soon as Daddy finishes whipping up on this boss. And we'll get to the next level, and then you can help with that again.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's so good. And so the topic I brought up is Resident Evil 4 and Dead Space remakes, because 1, I knew they were in your top, and 2, the dad stuff is I want you to convince me to play Dead Space. I'm definitely going to get Resident Evil 4. We're dads with small impressionable children now.
Yeah.
How in the fuck are we going to actually play these games? When are we going to find time to actually fucking play these games? Because I have the Resident Evil 2 remake, dude.
Yeah.
And I've had it on, I bought it on PS4. I don't know, 6 to 9 months after it came out.
Yeah.
I played a bunch of it. And by the way, I just want to make it clear, Resident Evil 2 remake is very easy to play if you played a shitload of Resident Evil 2 on PlayStation 1, which I did. And so I kind of breezed through where I am because I kind of remember. Like, it's very creepy how much your brain was good back then. And I'm just playing and I'm like, oh my God, I recall that. That's so weird. Oh, that room over there underneath the stairs, that has a save point and it has plants by it. Good thing. And like, I fucking remember that stuff.
Yeah, dude.
And so like I'm making decent pace.
It's crazy
when I'm playing this.
Yeah, I totally understand. Like I don't necessarily know that I've played like a lot of remakes, but I remember playing the games themselves. Like where I'm like, I haven't touched this in like 20 years. My wife does the same shit. She's like big. She's big into Sonic. Which side note, did you see the Hallmark, the ornaments that they came out with this year? Because she was always like a Sonic nerd.
The Sega one?
I got her the Sega one. When you turn it on, it goes Sega, and then
it's a little Sega Genesis with the
and it plays
cartridge in it, and it plays Green Hill Zone. And
yes,
I got it, dude. I got it.
Nice, yes.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. My mom got me that one.
Yeah, I got that for Shannon for one of her Christmas presents, and she knows all that shit. Like she'll go in there and she'll know like where all, like, you know, hasn't played it in 20 years, can show you all the spots where like the wall is like
break
hollow.
Through the wall.
Yeah. All that shit. She knows all of it.
Yeah, dude.
It's crazy.
It's so good. Isn't it weird? Because like play a new game now, you won't memorize that. I guarantee it. We're too, like, our brains aren't that way anymore. I don't know. I wouldn't, because half the time when I'm playing a game, I'm losing it. But you know what? I take that back, because I could probably do a lot of, when I replay Zelda Breath of the Wild, I will do a lot of that recall. I know I will. Even as open world and random as it is, I guarantee I will recall a lot of that.
Yeah.
So
I remember doing it with Metal Gear Solid, like where I started playing it, and like there's a part where you're like instinctively like, oh, I know I can't do that part. I need to go get the Nikita because I need to send the missile through the ductwork. I need to fly the missile through the ductwork.
Yep.
And it was just like second nature, like not even thinking about like, how do I do this? It was like, oh, I need that cool missile launcher.
And this is just replaying the PS1 version some years later.
Yes, exactly. Just replaying it, knowing exactly, like, as soon as you see the area, you're like, oh, this is what it's going to do. Oh, dude, this is a random.
I don't even have to run up and see that prompt that tells me to go back and look for something. Yeah. I'm just going to go back and look for something. I'll never see that prompt. Yeah.
This is a random ass side note, but I was thinking about it the other day. How lucky is Snake that he was doing all these sneaking missions before they had wide angle lenses? Like, he's got these cameras that are like panning shitty, and he's got to like run past them. Like now there's no blind spots.
I know, the fucking 180 wide angle lens.
He'd be fucked. There's nothing you can do. That game sucks.
Let's remake Metal Gear Solid with wide angle lenses in it. Let's see how fucking fun it is then.
Right. The game started, it just goes whoop. Then the moment you start the game,
you're just in an alert immediately. Oh fuck. Oh. Okay, so let's talk. So to go off Metal Gear Solid sort of got a remake in the GameCube era. Did you know that? Did you see that? Did you play it?
It was like a weird game, right?
No, Twin Snakes, it was called. It was like literally a remake because
really?
This is how I'm gonna make the transition. Yeah, so I really want to get this game. It's like $100 though, and I don't play that much game. I really want to play Metal Gear Solid again. So okay. Metal Gear Solid got its remake from PS1 to GameCube, and it didn't come over to PlayStation 2 at the time. It would have been PlayStation 2, which I was fucking pissed about. And because it was such a PS1 game, the fact that it didn't come to PS2 was like such a snub and such a like fucking I felt betrayed. And that's where
it was always a PlayStation game. Like just exclusively.
Metal Gear Solid was a PlayStation. I mean, it's on PC now for like in the right places. But
yeah.
Well,
the last one was on 100% Xbox even too, wasn't it?
Yeah, because they made the Metal Gear Solid collection, which is 1, 2, and 3. It was Metal Gear Solid 1 and then 2 and 3, which were 2 and 3 were on the PS2.
I wanted to say that Phantom one even was on Xbox.
Oh yeah. So after that, yes. Okay. So Metal Gear Solid 1, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 were all PlayStation games.
Right. Yep.
And then they made the jump over to other consoles.
Sure.
So it got its remake. Final Fantasy VII got its full remake, and it's not a remake, it's a reimagining. So like when you're playing Final Fantasy VII, you hit these familiar beats, but you don't, because Final Fantasy VII is one of my favorite games of all time. So you hit these familiar beats, but you can't do what I was saying with Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
When I was like, I'm playing Resident Evil 2 remake, and I'm like feeling all these like moments where I'm like, oh, I've already done that. I know where to go. I know what to do. Right. I know how to solve this puzzle, all that shit. Yeah. You can't do that with Resident Evil 7 remake. Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 remake, that were the motivation for this topic, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Ground up basically mirrors of the original game.
Oh, really? Okay.
So now go ahead.
I was going to say, like, Dead Space, I don't know if there's particularly like a lot of stuff where you remember all that stuff, you know, because it's like where you where you get health and everything. Like it's not like Resident Evil where you're getting herbs and you have to put together stuff. And I mean, yeah, you're finding ammo and stuff along the way, but it's a little bit different because like where you upgrade your weapons is almost like there's nodes.
Okay.
And the nodes you're finding, and it's almost you have to get to a certain computer system to be able to upgrade them. And like each, like there's these, it's almost like these stations. So the stations aren't hidden. They're just things that you find along the way.
It's just a certain distance in the path. So you don't think that you'd be able to burn through it, because that's the difference here then, is that Resident Evil, and I'm going to ask this about Resident Evil 4. So Resident Evil 2 has puzzles, and like you have to go searching and you have to collect items to solve the puzzles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's not Dead Space then.
I think there's still a little bit of puzzles going on, but I don't seem to remember a lot of the puzzles. Like Dead Space is definitely a lot more just straightforward horror. Like you are,
and kind of on a line too. Like you know where you're going at all times, sort of like you're kind of just going forward at all times. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it's a big spot, and there's like rooms that definitely some of the rooms that you go into, like there's supplies and stuff.
Sure,
but like you didn't need to go in there.
Yeah. Have you ever played Uncharted, or have you ever played Last of Us or anything like that? Like, have you?
I have played Last of Us. I'm watching The Last of Us.
Oh yeah, we have to save that for later because I don't have it yet. But
they're dropping it every Sunday, like
so there's only one episode out as we record this, right?
2. I've watched both. Third one comes out this Sunday, and I will say real quick, first Game of Thrones, I was excited to watch the next episode. Second Game of Thrones comes out, and I'm like, whatever. Last of Us, I told Shannon, I'm like, I'm excited for Sunday. You know, like,
oh yeah,
that's where we're sitting. And I think a big part of it is because I am a video game nerd. So it is one of those things that you can relate to. Yeah, it's like nostalgic, where I'm like telling Shannon parts of the story, like as we're watching it.
Right.
Like, do you know why this is happening? Do you know why we're doing this here? And it's like, because I know the storyline a little bit, like not trying to like spoiler alert or like, like ruin anything.
You're just kind of filling in maybe some gaps that they missed or something that they're going to fill in later.
Yeah, exactly. And then just kind of like explaining to her like what's going on here, like what is what, like what the game did, like what's the horror part, what are we dealing with? The enemy is a fungus, where Dead Space, the enemy is whatever the fuck it is. It's
whatever the fuck it is.
It's an evil energy, because there's this giant relic that shouldn't be around and it changes everything. That's the whole problem. This relic is the problem.
Really?
Yep.
So I watched a little bit of it today, and would it be accurate? So then to jump off of that, the reason why I brought Last of Us and Uncharted up and stuff like that is because they're fairly open. Like there's open areas. There's areas where you can open, but like you kind of know where you're going all the time. You're moving forward. Resident Evil, you're in a mansion and there's rooms all over the place, and you find a puzzle in this room, and then you walk over to that room and you find another puzzle, and you're like, wait a minute, I just found an unfinished puzzle. And then I found another unfinished puzzle. Fuck, what am I supposed to do? Well, the answer is keep exploring. Eventually, you're going to get the things that you need to go finish that puzzle, and then you can go finish that puzzle.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's similar.
But like Uncharted and, but like Uncharted and Last of Us, they're kind of straightforward. Like you always know where you're going, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I would say it's a very, it's very close to like The Last of Us, where like where you're going, you're getting everything done. But if I remember correctly, there's also parts of like where, because you're on this ship, it's like here's a spot, but you can't go that way yet, and you have to find the key card to be able to access this door later. But but no real puzzles that you have to solve. I think there are puzzles a little bit in those like node sections where it's like an engineering type puzzle.
Oh,
because that's what you are. Like the main weapon that you start with is like a plasma cutter type deal. Like it can fuck up an alien, these demon things that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
But it's made to not shoot living things. It's designed to like, it's it's designed to be like a tool, and you end up needing to use it as a weapon.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah. And then you can upgrade your suit, and it's cool shit like that. Like it's a very
that's my kind of game.
Cool game. Like, yeah.
Sounds like my kind of game.
That's why I was so into it when it came out, was when any of this stuff that it incorporates the ability to upgrade. So you're upgrading your suit. The suits look cool as you upgrade them. You're upgrading your weapon. The weapon becomes bigger, badder. It can do more things. So like that's cool. And then just the game in general. Like when you add horror and then you add these other aspects, it's just like Borderlands. Borderlands took an RPG and then added the leveling up to your weapons and your other stuff, and then also it's a first person shooter, and it's like, damn, dude, we're just like mixing all these genres in one. It's like it's super cool to not just be one thing,
Right. Okay. Yeah. I'm into that.
Yeah, so it's like a leveling up horror game, where like Resident Evil is super dope, but you're just gaining new guns, like this gun's cooler than that gun, and it's cool. Yeah. It's a great game.
You never personally level up you don't level up as a character.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
You're just the same.
Okay.
I mean, I think maybe you in Resident Evil 4, I think you maybe do learn different abilities, don't you? Or is that
that's actually what I was going to ask about Resident Evil 4, because
I can't remember
how much of it is like Resident Evil 2, because you are Leon again, but I know this time it's supposed to be a little bit more open. I know one thing in Resident Evil 4, you tell me if I'm wrong now here, but what I hear, I should say, and so I believe to be true, is you still had to like lock in Resident Evil 4, like RE2 style. You would like, with those old Resident Evil games, the locked camera, you basically, you locked in and you stood your ground and then you shot, and then you had to walk back and then you had to lock in and shoot. So you couldn't shoot and move at the same time, essentially. I hear that the original Resident Evil 4, though third person, not locked in camera style, it still required you to stop and shoot.
Maybe.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember having to stop, but I guess it's possible.
Yeah, because you would have just been used to it at that point, I'm sure. Because you played on PS2, right?
I played it on the PS2, and I beat the shit out of that game. Because I remember there was the regular game, and then when you beat the game, you get the mercenaries. And the mercenaries is like each character you get to play, and your whole goal is just to take out as many zombies as you can. And it's each character, and they all have their like special charge move. And that's why I was saying, like, I'm pretty sure you learn those abilities. And I think you learn those abilities in game, because I remember like certain boss fights, you had those abilities that you could use.
Okay.
So, and then like when you get the mercenaries, you can actually fight certain, you can be the boss.
Oh,
a playable character is the boss. So it was cool shit like that.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. And then they actually brought back some like fan favorites that weren't like even Tofu in the game, like Huck.
Oh,
he was in the mercenaries, but he wasn't in the game.
Oh,
he was a playable character. Okay. So it's just cool shit like that.
Yeah.
So if they bring that back and everything, like that was so fun to me. Like I spent so many hours in that game because you beat the regular game and the game was great, and then you got to that mercenaries, and it was like you have to do like 4 stars on each level, and then once you do all that stuff,
there's levels.
There are levels because it's like different settings, because during the game the zombies change. It's like you start out in a village, so you're just fighting like villagers, and then you go to the next spot where it's like all these people in like cloaks. So it's like a little bit harder. So you're dealing with cloaks and stuff. And each area had like its own badass. Like the initial in Resident Evil 4, the initial villagers, the badasses were the crazy bitches with the chainsaws.
Yeah.
And that game was like groundbreaking, because when that chainsaw chick got close to you, like that game was groundbreaking because it was designed for you to die.
Oh.
That chainsaw chick gets close to you and she cuts your head off. The first time it happens, you're just like, what the fuck? Like all it takes is her getting close to you and you're dead. So
I understand the controller that came out for GameCube.
Yeah, and it brings this level of like anxiety, because you know that if she even gets close to you, you are done. Like you gotta be moving. No, and now that you say that might actually, like, that does bring back memories where it's like, I think I run, I think I have to stop, I have to aim. And sometimes you'd like stop to aim, and then you'd see her like way too close to get your gun into position. You go, shit, no. And then you drop the gun and you run, and you're like, I got to put some distance between me and her.
Okay. Yeah. Know? Jogging memories. I love it.
Yeah. So I wonder if.
So that's not happening in the new one. It doesn't happen in Resident Evil 2 either. Like I didn't even think about it.
Okay.
But you can move and shoot. Like it's a third person shooter game. Like you're totally modern, comfortable. So in the remake, you're going to be able to like kind of point and run at the same point, shoot, run, do all that at the same time. So that feels good to me because now I'm afraid of that chainsaw chick.
Oh yeah, and then if you get into like the next like thing with the cloak, and there's like this badass guy that has like both of his eyes like cut out, and they're like sewed back shut, so he's blind, but he goes based off of sound. You make like one noise, and he's charging at you.
Oh shit!
And he's like fast, but you got to get out of the way basically. But if he hits you, dunzo bunzo. So it's like that kind of thing. Like each set has its own next badass person that you're dealing with.
Yeah. I got you.
So, okay. Yeah. So it's all those levels. And then when you beat all those levels, then you'd unlock these other characters and stuff. So it was cool. And then each one had their own special thing. I'm just so surprised
by levels. Like when you said levels, like I didn't know. So the fucked up thing about all of this is that like I have Resident Evil 4. I bought Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
I have it on I got it for Christmas. I remember this now. I got it for Christmas one year and I was so excited. And then I never played it. I don't know if I already had a PS3 and I was just late to the game because I looked it up. It was like Resident Evil 4 came out the year before PS3 launched. And so I don't know if I was just already stoked on that or what was going on, but I just never got around to playing it, which is stupid because I played so many PS2 games. So I don't know. I don't know what happened with Resident Evil 4 as PS3 started to come around.
I was going to say, I have the same story. I have Red Dead Redemption. I've never played Red Dead Redemption, any of them. And I have Red Dead Redemption for PlayStation 2. But I think I bought that one from like the video store when it was closing. Like it was a used version. And I was like, that's cheap.
Yeah. Because I think that's actually how I got it too. I think you ended up buying 2 copies and because you were like, hey dude, this is, and I was like, get me one.
Yeah. So I got you one and I got me one. And then I just never touched mine.
I've played both of them. I fucking love them. But
yeah, I hear they're super good. I just never played it.
I really want to go back and replay that game. But again, replays. Already we're talking about replays. So, okay. I'm definitely getting Resident Evil 4. You're selling on me, but you have to tell me more about these levels because Leon, I'm huge Resident Evil 2. I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you needed to tell me. But now levels, because I'm used to Resident Evil 1, 2, watching 3. It's all in one location. Oh, and Veronica.
Oh, yeah, Veronica. Yep.
It's the same thing, though. It's still the same formula.
Yeah.
Roughly.
So, I mean, this is basically like it's almost like the same thing as the Resident Evils where you're going through, but it's like as the story progresses, each spot you go to brings you to the next area.
Okay.
So it just kind of progresses and you actually move to different locations.
So it's not like Dead Space in the sense that it's all kind of sort of connected and like, I mean, you hit a door and you can't open it. It's not that.
Well, it's all designed the same way.
Okay.
It's like, it's not free roaming for the most part.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's all designed for you to go from point A to point B.
Yeah.
And you're starting in like this village and then the storyline progresses to you're not in this village anymore. Now you're in this other area where it's a little bit creepier.
Like you made your way to it. It's not just like poof, 12 days later.
Right. No, I don't believe so. Okay. If I remember correctly. I know
this a while ago. So I'm just trying to get you
it's all the same. It's all the same thing. But they even say different stuff if I remember correctly. You get the different, because I don't know what language they're speaking or whatever they're saying, but I clearly remember the guys that are wearing the cloaks. They walk around and they keep chanting, they saying creepy stuff. They're going Naughty Dog Woody, Naughty Dog Woody. Play it. Exactly what I said is what they say, and they say it over and over and over.
You've done that before, and I have the memory of you doing that for some reason. That sets in super well. I don't know, because you've done that before, and I hear it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's done that. You know. So so I'm sold on Resident Evil 4. I mean, I'm getting it, but like,
yeah,
before I get excited, I'm gonna compare it again to The Last of Us, because I don't want to get too excited. I want to just be like, okay, this is a brand new game.
Yeah.
Is it sort of like you get to the end of this and then you can just go into a new thing, or like you get to the end of this level and it's just a good place to break, but if you don't take a break, it flows into it? Because Last of Us has those like high action moments, and then like the next thing you know, you're inside you're inside a home, and the home is safe because it's made of steel. Like, I don't know. I'm making a bad example, but do you get what I mean? Is like Resident Evil 4, you said, is on levels, and it still feels connected.
Yeah.
It's not like a mobile game where all of a sudden you beat this level and then all of a sudden you're fucking in some new place that just isn't well explained. Because I want the story to feel consistent.
So it's totally consistent. It all flows together. I should say more that like it's not necessarily like the levels was more of the mercenaries after you beat the game.
Okay.
Where then it's like each level that you play is in the certain setting, you know, because it gives you a new setting. So it gives you a new layout with a new enemy. They're essentially the same thing, but they look slightly different, and you're in a slightly different area. Like the first one, you're in like a village, and it's just looks like villagers. And then the second one, you're in kind of like a castle setting where it looks like those people in the cloaks, you know? So everything progresses, but you just kind of like the enemy just changes a little bit. So it's not the same thing over and over and over, because that does get boring too. Like, I haven't played an Assassin's Creed since like the first one. But the first Assassin's Creed got really fucking boring to me really quick, because it was the same thing over and over and over. You're in the same kind of village. You're killing the same people. You're doing the same thing. And I was like, oh, I'm sneaking up on another guy. Is that what I'm doing? Great. So I never played another one. I don't know if I'm sure they got better.
They've changed completely wide open world crazy.
Well, I mean, even the first one was like a super wide open world, but it was just the same thing over and over.
Right.
It's like, here's your target. You're like, okay. Right. And then what's the deal? Oh, he's got like 4 guys around him that don't want you to kill him. Oh, weird. Okay, whatever. and then like the next time it's like the same shit. I was just over it. And like right when you first start playing it, you're like, this is crazy. The world's all open and crazy. And then I can climb to the highest point and jump off of it. And then like halfway through the game, you're like, now I'm just doing the same shit I've been doing the whole time.
And Resident Evil 4 doesn't feel that way to you, or didn't feel that way?
No, because it keeps giving you slightly different, slightly harder. Because it gives
you that change.
Yeah.
That change in scenery, that change in enemy.
Yeah.
But it feels connected.
And there's still like, it's all connected.
That's what I mean, really
it's all connected because it all comes down to like the same. Yeah, the story is definitely connected because it all comes down to the same thing. Like, just like all the Resident Evils are. Like the original one was dealing with the T virus, and this one, I wanted to say it was called something else.
In Resident Evil 4.
You're dealing with the same kind of thing. Yeah. And your whole thing is like, as you're kind of progressing, is you're trying to understand why this creepy ass village that just seemed like a village, like why some of them are monsters. You're like, what the fuck? Why are they monsters? And then it's kind of the same thing where you're just like trying to learn as you go along, like, what is going on here? Why is everything monsters?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
you don't know why everything's monsters.
Right.
But monsters they be. So and
I
that's not a
gotcha.
spoiler. You're gonna learn that quick.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm super stoked for it. That thing comes out in March, so I'm pretty sure that I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I'm gonna end up getting that. But the Dead Space one, I'm not so sold on.
Yeah.
Just because I never played the first one, but I love space and like these horror games are fun. I'm not a big horror fan. We've talked about, like you're a big horror fan.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good with the horror games. I don't have a big problem with them. Horror movies just don't do it for me. But like Dead Space, I don't know. It like I get it. Everybody's been loving it. And
Yeah.
this one is supposed to be like a Resident Evil 2 style remake, like this sort of like Capcom remake style where it's just like super good graphics, but like you'll play it, it will feel familiar, it will feel improved.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same game you played because they're going to make those improvements. It's going to run better, it looks better, all this fun stuff. Like Dead Space is supposed to be that game that is really kick ass. But Tim, there's no PS4 version.
It is only on PS5.
PS5, yep, the new
That
Xboxes,
sucks.
and then PCs, of course.
Yeah. Damn it.
So yeah.
Now I got reason to buy a PS5. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet, but yeah, I should probably look
right,
into
and they're
one,
around now. They're getting
yeah.
easier, especially in our area. They're getting easier to
Dude,
find because they're
because
actually
that,
shipping them to stores.
I mean, that game, like, that one is just like a super good storyline. Because when you're
Okay,
trying to figure out everything that's going on,
which is
because
pretty
you
much
don't,
what I need to hear.
I mean, but you don't know, obviously, like, it's a remake. So,
Yeah,
excuse me, you've heard things and you know, like,
yeah.
you're going to deal with some shit. Like, it's scary. and, like, the tagline for it is like, no one can hear you scream in space. Like, because, like, space is like, there's, dude, they ran one of the, I think I might have talked about it before, but they ran one of the best ad campaigns I've ever seen. And it was literally like, not your mom's game. And they had moms sit down in front of a TV, and it was reaction videos of them watching this game being played.
That was back in the day, dude. That was in that was in 2008, 2007, 2008.
Yeah, and they would scream and just be like, "What? What is this? Why would you play this?" Dude,
that's so sick.
It's definitely like shit.
That was before reaction videos were fucking reaction videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because I mean, it's all what used to be humans. And they are not humans anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's like stuff of nightmares. Like, and the storyline is good too, because you're learning like what's going on here. And I heard I heard a commercial, and it just because I've played the game so many, like, so long, I put in so many hours, and I am such a fan.
Yeah.
That the commercial starts out and it's on like Pandora or whatever. I'm listening to it. And at first I got super excited because I thought maybe they were making a show of it. Because I was like, if you do this right, this is going to be one of the scariest fucking shows I've ever seen.
Oh boy.
But I've never heard anybody do a show. There's like an animated series on it. But
yeah, there's an anime. Yeah.
Yeah. So they started
apparently
off,
really kind of fucked up too, but
oh yeah, fucked up. Dude, there's no way you can make it not fucked up.
Oh yeah, okay. I got
If you know what
I'm picking
this,
up what you're putting down there.
Yeah, if you know what this, it's like Doom. Like, it's not quite the same thing as Doom, but Doom is everything. Like, if you do it right, it should be really good, because all of these monsters are straight out of hell.
Right.
Like, the storyline of Doom is that they've learned how to go into hell and realize that hell is real and you can tap an unlimited source of energy.
Right.
But they did fuck up, and now there's demons everywhere. So it's and instead, like, sometimes you get somebody that makes a movie, and then they're just like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna have like The Rock," and then he's like a little bit grumpy or whatever. And then you're like, no, that's, you guys fucked this up so hard, because
there was so much potential there and you fucked it up.
If you know what Doom is, that's not even close. I can't believe you took this intense of a storyline and then I'm pretty sure made it PG-13. Are you shitting me?
Oh God. No.
The whole storyline is hell energy. And you're just like, let's say fuck once. Just crazy.
Not gonna work.
No. But back to Dead Space. Like,
oh yeah.
It's kind of along that same idea. Like, something went wrong and now all the humans here aren't humans. That's the same thing as Doom, kind of.
Sure.
Like, the hell energy changed all these humans into these demon things, and now that's what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And the commercial is just simply, it just starts off just like the SS Ishimura. And I can't even remember what the commercial says. All they need to say is the name of that ship. And I just went, oh, fuck. And I was just like pumped on
This is while you were listening to podcasts?
Yes.
Right? You said it's a radio ad? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I think this might have been like on Pandora. I'm just like listening to music or whatever. And between songs.
Oh, yeah.
It hit me with
it was an ad for the remake.
And I just pause.
And what?
I just pause. You hear Ishimura and you just go, huh? What is it?
Oh shit.
Yeah. And then you just, because the whole thing is that, like, the Ishimura is where all this shit went down. And you know right off the bat that you're like the rescue party. Like, the whole crew seemingly went missing, and there's no radio. Like, the ship is there, you know it's there, but you're not getting any response. You're like, what the fuck? Why isn't anybody talking to us?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking crazy. Okay.
And then you go on to this ship and you learn.
Okay, the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, okay, this is getting me now.
Yeah.
Because I never played the original, and I always was told, and always, like, it was always one of those games where it's like, I should get to that. And now that the remake is out, it's kind of like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's a good game with the being able to, like, upgrade stuff. And then, I mean, I've told you, and I talked about it on this podcast before.
Yeah.
But all the Dead Spaces, they have the most intense starting of any video games.
Oh, really?
The way you start each and every one of them is just like, holy shit, here we go.
And I missed the beginning then of the stuff that I was watching today. I missed the very beginning then, because the stuff I watched today, it was like, it's cool. I get it. I like it. It's pleasing to the eye. So I missed the good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm glad I did, because the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I think I kind of want to play this game. Like, I'm going to wish list it.
The first one.
Wait for a sale.
The first one is intense. I think the second one has a better, like, more intense starting.
Oh, wow.
Where you're just like, holy shit. Should I say it real quick?
Yeah.
The second one, so they have these things that are kind of like an Alien, where, like, it grabs onto your face, you know?
Okay.
And then you, like, turn into the evil things. Like, it does its thing to make you turn in.
Oh, okay.
So the first one, you're, like, strapped to, like, a medical table. And they're like
the eyeball thing?
No, there's an eyeball thing, but I think that's in the first one.
Yeah.
But you're strapped to a medical table and they're going to, like, give you an injection or whatever.
Okay.
And the guy that's trying to administer this, I forget why they're doing this part, gets attacked by one of those things, and as you're strapped to this table, it gives you like the most up close, like slow, like graphic, like watching his face change and turning into one of these monsters, and you're strapped to a table and you can't move. You're just sitting there just being like, wow,
this is the second. This
is the second one. And then something happens where you get loose and you have to run away from it. And as you're running away from it, just all hell is breaking loose, dude. There's just shit everywhere. And you're like, what the fuck? And you just have to run. You have no weapons. Your whole thing is just like, get out of here now.
Oh my God, dude.
And the first horrible. The first one is very similar, but it doesn't have that moment of just like, what the fuck is this?
Instant, the first, like, what the hell?
Yeah, the first one I think is a little bit like slower starting, where you have a flashlight and you can only see like 5 feet in front of you.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of that kind of starting, but again, no weapon.
Yeah,
and then shit does hit the fan again. So it's like very intense on both fronts. Like, it's just fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah, it's that kind of thing where it's just like, it's like real life. Like if there was a disaster, and shit hit the fan. If you're at the zoo and the fucking tiger cages, like all their walls just fell down, you just be like, holy shit, fucking grab it, just run. Fucking run.
Just fucking run. There's tigers everywhere.
Yes, tigers, they gotta fucking kill it.
So, okay, before we, like, as we wrap up, I want to wrap up on Resident Evil 4 remake, because it's one of your favorite games. Yep. There's a Resident Evil sale going on right now. I checked everywhere. Like, you can get Resident Evil 4 for like under $10 now, like everywhere. And by everywhere, I mean
like the first one you're talking?
Yeah, like the original. Well, okay, so it was Resident Evil 4 and it was on GameCube and, you know, blah, 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 whatever. It eventually made its way over to PS2.
Yeah.
And then it got ported over to PS3 and Xbox 360 as HD. You know how they were doing that? They were doing that like, we take the really good PS2 games and port them over to PS3. So they did that. So they put the HD one on PS3.
Okay.
And then eventually that HD version made it over to the PS4 as well.
Okay.
It is also on computer. And it's also on Switch now.
Damn. That's
so like you can play the original RE4 on Switch right now. Yeah. You can play a Resident Evil 0 through 6 on Switch right now. Now that you have a Switch.
Yeah.
Are you going to go buy you could buy Resident Evil 4 for like $8 right now.
Well, I'm not buying 6. That thing was dog shit.
But you could buy and replay Resident Evil 4, the version that you've been talking about right now on your Switch for like $8.
5 is good too. 5 is the same thing as 4, but you can play multiplayer.
Yeah. Okay. I have 5. I had never played that one though either, because I was already on PS4 when I bought that one.
Yeah. 5 you can play co-op.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of cool.
That is pretty dope.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
6 is just horseshit. And then 7 7 was dope. Like 6 was,
because they knew that they fucked up on 6. They
6 was 6 was exactly what you were talking about, you not wanting. Where you're playing one part and then all of a sudden you're in a different part and you're like, is this the same fucking game? And it's like, no.
Oh.
It's almost not. It's like just a bunch of different segmented chunks of like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if I could get into that.
I played one part and then moved on to the second part, and I was so displeased and confused at what was going on, I never even went farther. So maybe it gets better, but they lost me so fast that I was like, nope, this is not.
Oh, that sucks.
4 was good.
Apparently, it's like really good mechanically and has like
6
crazy. Oh no, not 6. I thought you were talking about 7.
No, 7 is fantastic. Yeah,
6 is the shitty jumping too much where you're like totally disconnected. I got
6 is 6 is not cool. Yeah. No, and that's why I was nervous about 7, and then 7 came out, and you're like, "Oh shit, yeah, we're back in it."
Yeah, that game's freaky as fuck. I played just the demo, and I was like, I can't play this game.
Dude, 7 they have in VR, and I'm like, oh, that's got to be one of the creepiest games to ever play in the world.
4 is in VR now.
7 I think is creepier. 4 is
okay.
4 is really good, but 7 is creepier.
But
for
7's
sure.
Creepier, right? Yeah. Fuck playing that in VR. No way, man. I'm about
to show you something wonderful. That guy says. That's it. They got creepy lines. They got good actors. They didn't have stuff like that in 4. Like where 4 is a really good game, but they didn't
good action game. Right?
Yeah, 7 is like there's super creepy characters, and 4 is like not so many creepy characters. Like it's just
it's like taking the game into a new adventure, right? Like that's what 4 is going to be. That's what when I play Resident Evil 4, it'll be like this is when the game turned into like not this puzzle solving run around one area. It turned into like a zombie survival story driven game, right? Yeah, which is why I'm fucking pumped for it. That's why I'll play it.
But there is still quite a few puzzles.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Yep.
That's good though.
Yeah.
I want that. I'm cool with that. I'm definitely cool with that. So there's a big sale going on now. Like even as the podcast drops, there's a big sale going on with Resident Evil 4. Like the HD, like the original Resident Evil 4, you can get it everywhere for real cheap right now. And does that make you want to play it on Switch? And 2, Resident Evil 4 Remake will be coming out on PS4. Do you think you're going to get it? Because all the way back to the beginning of the random take, when are we going to find time to play this?
Yeah, man. I think I will. I mean, I'm starting to be able to like get more time here and there.
Yeah.
And the Switch definitely makes it easier.
Yeah. Which is not the remake, but like if it's not RE4 remake, and would you still you could still revisit Resident Evil 4.
I think the
handheld.
I don't know if I'll play the original though.
Yeah.
But when you did say like, how are we going to do this? That's what I thought, like Switch, because I was able to cut out time to play the Switch.
Sure.
Because I can doing other stuff. And the only thing I was really playing on the Switch so far was Pokemon 2.
Mm-hmm.
Where Pokemon, and by 2 I mean also. But
also, yeah, I know what you meant.
That game is kind of slow paced and easy to stop pretty much anywhere. Right. Like you could be mid battle and then like it's a turn based game.
Yeah.
And it's not timed. So like it's your turn and you just don't do anything. So it's really easy.
Power button.
Yeah, it's real easy to do that where it's like you're doing something with the family, and then you can like get in when you get a chance to get in.
Right.
So those kind of games are definitely. Oh, also anybody
easier.
If anybody's thinking about like Scarlet and Violet Pokemon, you want both of them, go get yourself a Costco membership because it pays for itself at the moment. It's like $89.98 to get the 2-pack.
Oh,
you can get both of the games.
Yeah, they're 120 something, right?
$120 at Target. Yeah, and I think a Costco membership for a year is like $30. That's basically like paying for your membership to get
right. Plus, then you can go get dope bulk meat.
Yeah, dope bulk meat or your gas for cheaper. All sorts of good shit. But yeah, I saw that tonight, and then I told my wife, and she's like, "No, we don't need it right now." And then we got home, and I just kind of stopped, and it hit me while we were walking in the door. I like turned to her, and I just go, "You're not gonna have both new Pokemons if you weren't lame." But you're lame. So.
Hell yeah, dude. let's wrap up before we let this topic get too long. Let's wrap that up, and then actually I'm going to wrap it up, and then I'm going to talk more Resident Evil remakes on the Switch. So let's do the thing with the likes and the subscribes and all that stuff. Thanks for everybody who's sharing on YouTube and helping build that up. Don't forget, we're on all the podcast feeds and Spotify and Pandora now and Stitcher and iTunes and all that fun stuff, where it's Apple Podcasts now, I guess, whatever. Doesn't matter. Share with a friend, like, subscribe, do all that fun shit. Don't forget that we're on the social media. Look us up, Real AF TV, real like fish and reel. Just look up Real AF TV on social media, except for TikTok right now. And you're going to find us. Right. We're going to be on there. Just hit us up on there if you want to talk. Hit us up on there to keep up with the podcast. And don't forget, we have made it a goal in 2023 to start putting up some more short form videos, some more images and stuff like that. So that is something to look forward to as we get further into 2023. Contact realaf.tv/contact is a way to contact us directly. Again, DM us, find us on social media, interact there too. It's all good. Tim, anything else?
Got a Patreon too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Keep up with us on Patreon. Nice.
Yep.
Good one. And then we will continue our conversation after this, which might be a Patreon thing, by the way, in the future. So just saying, this might be a reason, because me and Tim are going to keep talking because Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 7